This is Harley Sachs with the reading of Murder in the Keweenaw, written by Harley Sachs, that's me, and it's published by the Idea Development Company of Houghton, Michigan, where I live, and it's obtainable by anybody who wants to buy it on the World Wide Web from the printer www.lulu.com. in the year 2006. Chapter 1. I was at a turning point in my life, one of those critical times of passage, what some call a midlife crisis, and I was trying not to face it. Instead of dealing with my problems, I was avoiding them by going fishing. Hemingway had done it in his stories of fishing in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. His literary alter ego used the meticulous pursuit of brook trout as a means of recovering from the shock and awe of the Spanish War. Mine was a different fish and a different war, but the shock and awe were similar. It was early June. The fog bank lay over Keweenaw Bay, a ghostly shroud that obscured the far shore. Though it was an unseasonably warm day for June, the temperature of the water of Lake Superior was still in the low 40s. The chill is something you have to prepare for any time you go out on what we Yoopers call the big lake. Even in July and August, when out on the boat, I've occasionally had to slip into my orange insulated survival suit or risk hypothermia. Keweenaw fishermen don't mind having to put on thick sweaters and wool watch caps in the middle of our short summer. Even before the last bits of ice pack have melted, the lure of lake trout brings out the motorboats with their downriggers and cannonball weights that lower lures into the chill darkness of the deep. With those rigs you can fish at several depths at once, hoping to catch a salmon along the thermocline or lake trout near the bottom. Poorer fishermen venture out in open aluminum boats, set an anchor in a couple of 100 feet of water, and sit all day with a gibbo and bob. Gibbo is the local Finnish name for a wooden hand spool loaded with wire line. The line is lowered until the lure, usually a lead barracuda, baited with a smelt tail or strip of sucker, strikes the bottom. Then it's jigged with a steady motion that drops the lure to the bottom, then yanks it up to hook a curious fish. If fish aren't biting, it's a boring way to pass the afternoon. Sometimes you can smell the fish, just as some dogs can find a submerged corpse by sniffing the gases of putrefaction as they bubble to the surface. If lake trout have a body odor, that may be what marks their presence, even though they are hidden in the back depths of the icy lake. My boat is named Sisu, a Finnish word that roughly translated means courage and tenacity in the face of overwhelming adversity. It's presumptuous of me to call the boat Sisu. I may be tenacious, but do not have the courage, or have lost what little I did have. It's the word that best expresses the Finnish tenacity and the famous winter war against the Russians. Facing overwhelming odds, the Finns held out for months in the forests. That was Sisu, an expression of courage and Finnish pride. What the Russians wanted was a land buffer to protect Leningrad, now again St. Petersburg. Eventually, under bombardment and a force of 1 million Russian troops, the Finns lost, gave up the province of Karelia. Sisu recalls Finns' heroic resistance. It's a favorite word among us Finnish Americans and a good name for a boat that's used on the formidable waters of Lake Superior. My Sisu is a modest 22-foot sloop, an old Venture 222 made by McGregor, whose line of boats is like Henry Ford's Model A, mass production and cheap, the poor man's means of getting out on the water. There's no room in the cockpit combing of Sisu for a downrigger. All that hardware takes up precious space and would interfere with the block and tackle of the main sheet and the main rail-mounted VHF antenna. I either troll a surface line with the butt of my rod secured by the lazarette hatch, or bob with a gibbo. I don't go bobbing just to catch fish. Being out on the bay is a therapeutic escape. To sit in the cockpit of my sailboat, propped up with cushions, tackle box, and an ice cream bucket of smelt at my feet, is my idea of heaven. Keweenaw Bay isn't like Lake St. Clair near Detroit, where an anchored fisherman risks being run down by a jet ski or a party boat steered by some drunk. Most of the time, when I'm out on Keweenaw
Sample complete. Ready to continue?